What's up, y'all? This is your girl, Megan. Welcome back to my channel. To my returning subscribers, those of you who are new here, welcome. It is here that we use information from celestial bodies to help us gain a better understanding of our favorite celebrities, world events, but most importantly, our damn selves, all right? So with that in mind, thumbs up this video, subscribe to become a part of the Astro family, share all that good stuff. If you are interested in booking your very own natal chart reading, you can contact me at Astro World, that's Astro WERLD at gmail.com. First come, first serve in terms of readings, because I do have a limited amount of slots. Okay, so let's get into the video. Today's video, as you can see by the title, is going to be a nice little mashup. Synastry, natal chart delineation on G Herbo, Ari Fletcher, Taina, and the little baby boy, Yosohn, I think his name is. So if you didn't know, Yosohn is Ari Fletcher and G Herbo's child, okay? G Herbo is a Chicago-based rapper. Ari is his former baby mama, okay? And now I guess she has some businesses of her own, allegedly. However, she and Herbo had a very tumultuous relationship, very toxic. We're talking about lots of domestic situations and infidelity. And speaking of infidelity, it was alleged that Herbo was in fact cheating on Ari with Taina, all right? So once he and Ari finally separated, he finally consummated his relationship with Taina. And he did that by giving her a baby. And now she is pregnant with baby number 2. So if you're following me here, we have a blended family situation, all right? And as you can imagine, lots of tension, lots of animosity, especially because there was such a huge overlap, okay? Herbo is the quintessential dark-sided Libra male. He tends to, hop into one relationship without completely removing his foot from the door stopper in the last house. So you got one foot out in one door, another foot in another house. Really messy situation. But apparently, for the past maybe year or so, it seems like they've been doing well. Well, all of that came to an abrupt halt after the blog started circulating a clip of Ari and Herbo's son, Yosohn. He's so cute. I may be mispronouncing his name, and so I do apologize about that. I love the babies. But he was crying at the idea of Ari Fletcher having another child. And so everybody was like, why was he crying? So it was one of those things where she was recording his reaction because somebody had told him that his mom was having another baby. And, the baby hollered like, the world was coming to an end. And everybody was like, why is he so triggered at the thought of his mom having a kid? Like, what is going on? And to a certain degree, it's normal. You kind of anticipate children wanting to be the only child in some cases. It's not abnormal, but people were kind of, joking and using it as fodder. And then here comes Ari, because Ari gonna have something to say. She basically spilled the beans and was talking about how Yosohn had been coming to her, telling her that he did not like Taina, that she was mean to him. And in this particular video, because she had different recordings, and then she also had like a video of her actually talking to him, and she was saying, Yosohn, like, what's wrong? And he was like, I want to shoot her. And she was like, you can't shoot people. Like, why do you want to shoot people? And, basically he was like, she let me fall or something to that effect. So apparently he's telling his mom that Taina is mean to him. And on one occasion she allowed him to fall or something like that. Ari did say he came back with scratches and bruises and whatever the case may be. So putting 2 and 2 together, she's like, I don't like this woman around my child. And my child is even telling me he's not feeling comfortable around her. So she had been, just put everything on Front Street and was just like, this is not a happy co-parenting, blending situation. I never liked, she didn't say I never liked Taina from the jump, but we know she never liked Taina from the jump, which is understandable. Fair, rightfully so. And so she was just saying, like, stay away from my child, blah, blah, blah. Taina tried to come back and post like this cute little collage of Yosohn, and she kind of told on herself because she had like collages, like videos of him when he was like an infant, which solidified what Ari had been telling us in terms of G Herbo cheating on Ari with Taina back when, like, she was still postpartum, when Yosohn was still very much a little bitty baby infant. So, then Ari was like, well, you got 20 minutes to get my child off your page before I expose something you really don't want the world to know. And, like an obedient steward and servant of God, okay, Taina removed the clip. But I got mad because me and the rest of the world wanted to know, what was the tea? You know what I'm saying? Bitch, I wanted her ass to, like push the envelope a little bit. I wanted some resistance, Taina, because I wanted to know what she knew that she knew you didn't want us to know. You get what I'm saying? So anyway, okay. Basically now it's just all up. Herbo has posted online with his particular intake on it, and it seems like he's kind of playing both sides, which is very Libra, right? Somebody said that they, saw a video where he was like consoling his son and saying like, I won't leave you alone with her. And then on another note, like trying to defend his relationship. So it's like, very Libra, trying to take both sides and of a particular situation. And I just have a suspicion that the girls ain't never really been that cool to begin with, even if they were cordial, both Taina and Ari. But once again, when we talk about, a Libra, and Libra women can be like this too. They often can find themselves in situations where like they're in the middle of conflict. So they have to be the one that like the go-between, right? I'm the go-between. I'm the mediator. So whatever perception they have of each other, I know it is largely due to Mr. Libra man in question. And, he also has his Libra sun in opposition to his moon. He's another Libra sun, Aries moon individuals. And those people kind of annoy me. They annoy me. And then that's a different video for a different day, but don't get me started. I might make a specific video dedicated to those specimens because they really make my booty itch. But anyway, number one, we're here to talk about if there is any validation to, and I don't want to say the claims because I perfectly believe the child. I'm of the belief that if a baby says something, I know sometimes children can have very wild imaginations, and there are certain case by case situations where like shit happens or misunderstandings happen, or what I'm saying, whatever, or some kids do be lying. I'm not gonna lie, it just depends on what it is. But babies that age, not really. Children are really pure, so it's just like for the most part, but I still want to get into the synastry of it because I want to show y'all why I actually believe what I believe, okay? And then from there, we're just going to kind of touch on the charts just individually of Miss Taina and Herbo and how his synastry could intersect with Yosohn's. And then we'll go ahead and close the video out because I'm not trying to be here forever. I know this seems like a messy topic. So if y'all are already, like, if you're here with me in the video, thanks for following along. Okay, so boom. We're going to actually start with the synastry between Yosohn and Taina because there are some really important things to discuss. And today is actually Taina's birthday. So she is an Aries sun with her sun at the 11th degree. This is a degree that can naturally breed family conflict, issues with children. The sun represents children. It could also make her someone who is really close to children. And intuitively, I get that she looks at herself, or that's how she views herself, right? Like I'm really close to kids, or I really love kids even before she had a child. But the downside of this Aries sun is that, especially with it being conjoined to her Mars as well, oftentimes there could be difficulties with like being impatient. You know what I'm saying? These are people who could even be kind of, they could deal with hard-headed children. So their children could be hard-headed, and it does not help that your son is also an Aries and his son is conjoined to Taina's Mars. So it further kind of amplifies or echoes that aspect, that Sun Mars aspect that she has going on. So this could also make him hard-headed And Aries children, are very willful, oppositional, defiant. They can be reckless. They could also be very accident prone just because of like that kind of destructive. I mean, these are kids who are just going, bumping into one thing and then the next, literally and figuratively. So, falling, hitting your head, getting some scrapes and bruises is actually like part of the course. So I'm not going to act like that's not on point with the energy signature. And they did say that, your son came back home with some scratches and some bruises and some bumps and stuff, okay? Aries rules the head too. So you got to think about it like that, bumping your head, like a Aries child bumping their head. I literally see that. But also with this Sun Mars conjunction between Taina and Yosohn, you could see him getting angry or feeling defensive around her. To the point of like where, it's a real problem, like actual rage and violence. Like he said, I wanted to shoot her. That is such a little baby Aries thing to say. Aries deals with guns and weaponry, and a lot of Aries can be, and that's something he needs to be mindful of, or I would say Ari might want to watch out for as he gets older, especially considering like his father's pathology and things like that. But different story for a different day. I don't like to get too in depth when it comes to small children and just reading their charts. But for the sake of this particular topic, I also want to get into the fact that Taina's Saturn is in Aries as well, and it's conjoined to your son's sun. So that is another aspect that could definitely impact the way they relate to one another. It can manifest in disciplinary problems. It could deal with where Taina could be harsh or insensitive, or where he could do something, once again, he's being, I'm not going to lie, like Aries children right alongside like Gemini children can be bad as fuck. I'm not even going to hold you. Like they can. And more than one thing could be true at one time. Also, Taina's sun is squaring your son's Saturn. He's a part of that Saturn Cap generation. The next, Saturn Capricorn generation. And that could deal with where they just straight up lack closeness, where your son does not feel close to her. He could feel ignored by her or by his father, which is also interesting because they say, according to Ari, that basically she's the babysitter. Taina is the nanny because every time your son goes to live with them, okay, he's staying with her 80% of the time, and then Herbo is actually only around as the present father 20% of the time. Personally, I can relate. I know it's not all men, but I know a lot of men pull that. Either their mothers or the woman that they with is the one who does a lot of the majority of the labor if they're already in a situation with a child from a previous relationship. You know what I'm saying? My baby daddy do the same thing too, but with him, it's his mama though. But it's kind of interesting. I know it's not a lot of men who watch my channel, but if you are a man and you have children, could you explain this phenomenon? It's kind of weird. But once again, with Herbo's Libra sun in opposition to his Aries moon, you could even look at that as him, needing a handler or using women as like, handlers or whatever the case may be. So I thought that was kind of interesting. He also has Venus and Libra as well. And that could also deal with him, leaning on a woman to kind of, bridge certain gaps or do certain things for him, or interfere in a lot of his business and what he has going on. That could happen quite often. But Tiana's, or Taina, whatever her name is, her Mercury is conjoined to your son's sun. And that could deal with where, she could, even the way that they speak or she speaks to him could be, she just lacks patience. So it could be harsh. It could be kind of, it can be mean in worst case scenarios, right? Her sun is squaring his Mars and Saturn. Once again, that's a disciplinary problem. Like I said, lack of closeness. And it really, the energy they can kind of ping pong off of one another's energy. And children are a good reader of energy. So, it could be something as subtle as her just not being in a good mood or not trying to deal with A, B, and C. And, when he comes over to the house, he's on the bullshit. So she's not going to really be, she's not going to want to coddle him or whatever in the way that his mother does. Because there's a strong possibility that your son is a Pisces moon. So he could be very spoiled, very coddled. So, I mean, just from a Synastry perspective, you could definitely see that the two don't get along. You could see that right off rip. And I just thought that was really interesting. I don't know if, I wouldn't put it past her if some point she did hit him. I'm going to just be honest. But I can also see the other side of the coin, especially with your son's Saturn and Mars, aspecting her son. And all this in Aries, where maybe he can push her to the point. Because he could be a tyrant. You know what I'm saying? These are children who can really be tyrants, or who can really have issues, like I said, with discipline and needing to be reined in. And even looking at your son's natal chart, he has his south node at the 11th degree of Aquarius. That's a lunar nodal placement that typically breeds problems with authority. And his Uranus is at the 28th degree of Aries. Saturn, once again, in Capricorn. He has a difficult time with authority, and that's going to be something that he, faces as he gets older. And I'm not trying to bash anybody's child. He's still a baby. But, these are real things. And I think as a parent, from Ari's perspective, that should be something that is addressed at some point. And I know nothing about how she parents her child. But that a part of it is also knowing the type of child that you have. Because I see it going both ways in terms of, or where the truth could be a gray area, or where more than one thing could be true at once. Do you get what I'm saying? Where he could be a very difficult child. And it just is what it is. It just is what it is. I also noticed that your son has his sun conjoined to Uranus. That could also make him like a really big problem child too. And it's also conjoined to Herbo's Aries South Node. So once again, these nodal karmic relationships, I don't even think he's going to have a good relationship with Herbo. And that's really what it's going to boil down to, especially if there's constantly issues with, the women that Herbo is with. And this is played out because Herbo's moon, that Aries moon, is also conjoined to his South Node. So, that it could even deal with them getting into it. Like, and of course, I don't mean now, but as he gets older, whether he's with Taina or not, like, I could see him having issues with the women that his dad chooses, or, there being some static, there being some conflict. And as a Libra, once again, Herbo is going to play both sides, or be in the middle, or want to make things look good. He's also going to have an innate desire to protect, his household and the woman, or try to defend the woman that he's with. Also, I will say too, with Taina's Mercury conjoined to your son's sun, she needs to be, like I said, more verbal with him, but in a way that is more tempered and more sensitive. And that's definitely something that she needs to work on. And I feel like, she could be someone who hides the spicier side of herself, especially as a Pisces South Node. They do a really good job at that because she comes off as so meek and mild. And that's the interesting thing in just energetically looking at Taina's chart, right? With Herbo being an Aries moon, he's going to attract very brash, strong women. You know what I mean? And that just is what it is. And I feel like people kind of get the wrong impression, like feeling like, oh, well, he upgraded because he's with Taina because she's a quieter or milder seeming Latina versus Ari, who's just, based off what people say, a loud, ratchet chick from a black girl from Chicago. And don't get me wrong, Ari has her shortcomings. She really gets on my nerves for other reasons. But, I just have to call it like I see it. The energy is not that different. Meaning, Taina and Ari are capable of the same type of fuck shit. And I can see the same dynamic in terms of, like, violence and just, all kinds of stuff. So, or her just being an asshole, So, I think I'm going to leave that there for now. Oh, your son also has his sun squaring Pluto. I don't like that either, especially with that North Node. That could deal with, Herbo maybe passing away at some point. I mean, obviously, that's everybody passes away at some point, but I don't know if it's going to be prematurely or where there could be a real big love-hate situation, lots of resentment, towards one's father. Like, now I will say on a more positive end, because his son is conjoined to that Uranus, and the way that can manifest is him, and he's going to act a lot like Herbo in a lot of ways, and I think that's going to either bring them really close together and make them really tight, and I think Herbo might even identify with this, like where he identifies with his firstborn in a certain way where he feels like he represents him, or where he could be an extension of him in some cases. But it's also going to cause them to bump heads too. Bump heads. Literally, figuratively, whatever, however you want to call it. So, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and end the video here. If I got to break it down anymore, I guess I will. But I just really don't feel the need to. I don't actually really care that much. But this is for some of y'all, because I know I've been getting a few requests. I hope y'all enjoyed. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. Sound off in the comment section. And make sure you practice unconditional self-love so that you can love others. And I'll holler at y'all in the next video. Bye.